So yes, it is time we take another look at the Flare network. Ladies and gentlemen, recent news sheds a little bit more light on their vision for the XRP ledger. Recently, Hugo Fillion, Flare network founder, appeared on the Decipher podcast with Jack Nawald. Now, they talked about a lot of things, including their new relationship with premier crypto exchange Kraken, as well as the launch of Tether's new stablecoin, USDT Zero, on the Flare network and how it incorporates or integrates into the FSX ecosystem. And to that point, it's actually where the XRP ledger comes up in the discussion. As we'll learn in this episode, Hugo's new plan for what they call XRPFi, it's pretty freaking interesting. Can't wait to share it with you. So, welcome. My name is Wade. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in the space since 2019 and I've researched over 1,000 digital assets. But the number one reason I sit here in front of this camera next to this eloquent microphone is to share all that knowledge with you. All I'm asking in return, you hit that like button for me or subscribe if you find value. I do have a goal. I would like to see the channel hit 100,000 subscribers, maybe by Christmas. Consider it as your gift to me. And in exchange, I got something for you here. If you're new to the space, this DHN blockchain starter kit that I put together, man, I'm telling you, you will thank me for it later. That's all I'm saying. It not only has a collection of resources, links to various news outlets, crypto networks, so that way you get a pulse of the industry, but I've also added my own insights to kind of help you digest the enormity of information that you're going to get when you get involved with blockchain. Okay. Crypto is one thing. Blockchain, that's big business. And then this pairs well with the new financial system master sheet, which you can see the Flare network is promptly presented. Now, this is the initial organizations that were a part of this sheet. Now that we are tracking what I like to call the D20 index, there will be an improved version of this coming out later this summer. But feel free to download the master sheet in its current version because it's still very good information on it, especially for Flare. You get an idea of some of the biggest relationships that they have, like Google Cloud, Red Day Technologies, and the Universal Digital Payments Network, which also is heavily involved with stablecoins. So with that, guys, let's hop over into this story because we're going to start with one of the clips here. I just want to share it with you. And again, I'll leave a link to this entire interview, in the description because it was pretty interesting. I do like this as well. Just a little add this tidbit in here from a product marketing advertising perspective. Hugo don't hesitate to do an interview. I like that about him. All right, because the more you show your face, the more people feel comfortable with you. So let's hop into the clip. It's about a minute or so, and then we'll be right back. And we're going to dive into more details about the USDT Zero.
USDT O onto Flare network. Talk to me about why that's important.
USDT Zero. So USDT Zero is effectively an interoperability protocol that is built for Tether, and is powered by Layer Zero. And effectively, I think, I'd be so bold as to say it's basically the new version of Tether in terms of how how Tether is expanding across chains. Okay. Looks to me like they're doing it heavily through USDT Zero. And the critical reason we went for USDT Zero, it's two critical reasons. One, it's highly interoperable. So you can move it across chains from Flare to Arbitrum to, I think, Corn, and they're building out very, very quickly across many chains. The critical thing for us was we wouldn't have done that because we already had Stargate USDT. We didn't. That's fairly interoperable, but we didn't. That wasn't sufficient to get us over the line. Also, it's supported by exchanges. So it's not just that this is a form of interoperable USDT that is great for DeFi. It's also that people can basically use it as if it was Tether, meaning that they can deposit their Tether in Tether on whatever chain supports Tether, but they can deposit their Tether as USDT Zero seamlessly on Flare.
So it appears to me that Flare basically took Tether's new stablecoin and made it multi-chain. Now, I looked at the documentation for this USDT 0, and the original intention was for it to be multi-chain. And that made me think of, well, it seems as though they're trying to compete with Circle on the accessibility tip, because the description that he gave about the functionality and the features of this new stablecoin sounds a lot like what USDC already has in place with Coinbase, Uphold, and well, Gemini has their own stablecoin, but USDC is also on Gemini as well. Whereas Tether, up until this point, ain't really had that. they didn't really have that. You can't spend Tether with your Coinbase card like you can USDC. I believe you can do it through Binance, but it's not happening in the United States, which is another reason why Tether, this may be that US acceptable stablecoin product that they were looking to introduce. Now, Kraken is helping them get this off the ground, as well as the company Layer 0. And I believe if we go back to the master sheet, what do we see here? Layer 0. So Layer 0 is a very big player for the Flare network, helping them connect to other chains outside of the existing connections that, of course, they already have through F assets. But let's read a little bit into this. So this USDTO launched in January, surprisingly. Over $2 billion in USDT 0 volume has been bridged across chains since launch. I called it just like my mans did, but it's all right. It's live on some of the most widely adopted chains, including Arbitrum, Optimism, Inc. Inc is Kraken's chain. Missed out when Kraken launched their own blockchain, ladies and gentlemen. But if you know a thing or two about Jesse Powell, dude is a genius. Been around blockchain development pretty much since day one. So it's not surprising. It's really not. So Optimism, Link, Arbitrum, Unichain, which is Uniswap's chain. Watch out for that one. Say, Berachain, Mega ETH, and now Flare. I do not know Berachain and Mega ETH. Don't ask me for no Mega ETH content. But with the support of Tether, Layer 0 and Stargate, USDT 0 sets a new standard for cross-chain stablecoin liquidity. Design is a technical breakthrough for stablecoin design. USDT 0 offers a range of benefits to users, blockchain ecosystems, and exchanges. So the short of it is this. Through Flare, well, with the addition of Flare, now this new stablecoin from Tether can connect to even more chains. And if it's being implemented into the DeFi sphere that Flare is looking to build, or the F assets ecosystem, then that means that soon this could also live on the XRP ledger and begin to interact with the XRP ledger, which would ultimately open the door for maybe crypto-backed loans in the form of XRP or other financial instruments, which through this story, I learned that that's really what keeps Bitcoin and Ethereum ahead of the pack, is because outside of the applications, of course, more so on Ethereum than Bitcoin, but outside of the applications and everything else going on, there is a certain list of financial products, crypto-backed financial products, that you're only getting exposure to through Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's just say XRP is next in line through the functionality that F assets provides. That would be pretty big. But to that point, let's hop back over here to the podcast. Got the second clip. Of course, I don't want to give too much away. This was a great episode through and through. Highly advise you guys check him out. Follow him on X. But let's take a listen to the new vision for XRPI that Flare Network has.
We set out to build this interoperable chain. Some of the chains that really need interoperability are, in order to access DeFi, probably the most, viable one is one that has, frankly, at least as large, if not, given the day, larger FTV than Ethereum, right? Like, but zero DeFi or very, very little DeFi, because all DeFi is built for EVM, and There just isn't a DeFi. It's really hard to do DeFi natively on the XRP ledger. So we're gearing up for essentially building a fully fledged DeFi ecosystem for XRP, and that's fundamentally going to be driven, I think, by a protocol that we've funded, being built by another party, that is doing XRP restaking.
Okay.
So securing services and other networks, so AVSs, through restaking protocol, but with XRP, issuing a liquid staking token on Flare. And that liquid staking token going into the DeFi ecosystem, so you'll be able to borrow it against XRP, you'll be able to borrow it against dollars, you'll be able to, do looped lending, which is, a very desirable thing to do in DeFi. You'll be able to use XRP as collateral for loans, for perps, for all those kind of things.
So the kind of concept here, or the goal here, would be to kind of unlock the several hundred billions of dollars.
That's the first step, right? That's like step one. Like, frankly,
Okay, I'm gonna leave that. You guys go check out the rest of that discussion, because they're about to go there. But essentially, guys, if you hold XRP or if you hold Flare, here's what you need to know. This man right here has found a way to bring DeFi to the XRP ledger. And those are the things that I will cover when it comes to XRP. Like, I know everybody likes to get excited about price points and things like that. $25,000. That was a good one, Max. That was real funny. 25,000, 10,000, 589, all of that. I know about that. But there is so much more happening on the XRP ledger that if we put too much emphasis on that, we're going to miss this. People will see it in the charts and in the price action when XRP and Flare start to move together. All right, XRP is already maintaining that $2 price level. Flare definitely needs to kick it up a notch. As a matter of fact, in our members group, Flare and XRP is part of the index of coins that we are tracking. Their performance during this current, we'll call it a rally over the last 2 weeks or so, it's been a little bit shaky, but that shows us opportunity to get in, right? But another thing I like about this, and I believe I have another article that talks about the introduction to XRP DeFi. It's written in May 2nd. Now, of course, they always start with the filler, the backstory, but let's dive into this right here. Because Flare is an EVM compatible layer 1 that was designed for interoperability. Through Flare's enshrined data protocols, Flare allows non-smart contract assets like XRP to be used trustlessly in DeFi. Flare has been committed to building this vision of XRP DeFi since day one, to create an ecosystem that will empower XRP to reach its maximum potential. They go into directly describing this stablecoin. As they say, stablecoins, especially ones trusted already in the blockchain space, have been instrumental in taking this growing interest and turning it into actual capital. Because stablecoins act as the cash equivalent assets within DeFi ecosystems, they're widely available and increasingly interoperable. And today, they're becoming foundational to opening pathways to more XRP utility. So, folks, this is what Ripple should have done. Quite frankly, if they got all of these billions of dollars in the reserves, they should have just created, they should have built something on the XRP ledger where Flare wouldn't even have to show up, to be quite honest with you. That is all the more reason why I am excited about the Flare network and what they look to provide the XRP ledger, because I know I champion Stellar the most. That's still my biggest hold. That's my number one asset. That's my favorite network to research. But I like XRP because, and I meant to add this too, I've used the Stellar network, just like I've used the XRP ledger. They are both just as fast. And when you want to move money from one spot to another in an emergency situation, they both kick out the same amount of power. They doing the exact same amount of speed, you know? So the one thing that was missing, much like what Stellar did with Sorbonne, which introduced smart contracts, and now we see Stellar's got DeFi. Stellar's got tokenization. Stellar's got a whole bunch of other things. Now that these smart contracts, which is the key, unlocked the DeFi functionality. In XRP's case, they're strategically positioned because they have all the added liquidity sort of just like sitting there. It's just sitting there waiting to be completely unlocked, waiting for the floodgates to be open. Flare is trying to open them floodgates in collaboration with Tether, which just makes that image that Crypto Air reposted last week. Ripple leadership, Tether leadership at the same round table. Look, I like the narratives that are lining up for this space around stable coins, mainly because we know on this channel, all of this stablecoin activity is a directive that was put forth in 2020 by G20 nations, Financial Stability Board, IMF, World Bank. We need to get these stable coins in order because they could be just as powerful as fiat. And again, the whole point, at least the promise of stable coins, is to give people who can't access typical dollars access to wealth creation. Talk about a use case, right? So with that, guys, let me pull up the site here. And I know some of you have had some issues downloading the, yeah. Gotta fix that. Oh man, gotta really fix that. Okay, so no worries. The link will be repaired. I know what's going on. I'm using a redirect and I'm just going to go straight to the source this time, but links in the description. Still, you can access this Blockmaster. That's through a different link. This is a 28-page ebook that will give you the foundational information for blockchain technology. Putting this together helped me understand just how potent what Flare is looking to bring to the XRP ledger, because you'll learn, among many things in this PDF, how smart contracts work and how powerful they are and what they can unlock if you can implement them properly. All of the discussion around XRP over the last since their origins, I don't know why anyone stopped along this way and implemented smart contracts on the XRP ledger. Stellar could do it. What's stopping the XRP ledger? But now we got Flare here. So, and then also, guys, of course, don't forget your financial system master sheet. Okay. Once you access the link for the Blockmaster, you'll see it is down here. Bam. Right there, master sheet, as well as the rest of our research library, merchandise, things like that. So with that, guys, I'm done yapping. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.